Hello, my name is Emily Bailey, and I'm a PhD candidate at the Teachers College of Columbia University. My chapter is in applications and practices for empowering neurodivergent learners and is titled Making Meaning Up, Building Autistic Worlds Through TEACCH Artifacts. I wrote this chapter based on my ongoing dissertation fieldwork, which focuses on the ethnographic context of an employment training program for autistic adolescents in Paris, France, which takes the form of a cafe that serves breakfast and lunch. I became interested in France as a research site because the country has a pretty negative reputation when it comes to autism diagnosis, support, and care in both the domestic and international media. And I wanted to interrogate what that really meant for autistic people living their lives in France, particularly those like adolescents and young adults who are in a transitionary period as they face an uncertain future beyond the social, medical educational sector, which typically provides all support services from the ages of 3 or 4 to 20 or older. This particular chapter focuses on how teach structures are used at the cafe, at the employment program. I begin the chapter with a detailed explanation of how the teach system is used at the cafe in order to demonstrate how deeply it organizes social life there. Teach-based strategies are commonly employed in special education classrooms to instruct students on how to do tasks or activities and support them in their learning. However, in my chapter, I examine how the autistic youth who work at the cafe manipulate that system and repurpose it to assert their agency in interactions with their non-autistic educators. I argue that in doing so, autistic youth work with their non-autistic interactants to reproduce a social space that affirms neurodivergence and autistic ways of being. I further examine how experiencing autistic agency influences non-autistic educators' perceptions and understandings of autism. I argue that working alongside the youth at the cafe leads to the development of two distinct frames of autism among educators. One that talks with autism, which positions autism as an integral part of an autistic person's complete self, and one that talks about autism, which relies on clinical explanations and pathologization of behaviors and reinforces ableist ideas about this concept of autism spectrum disorder. You can follow me on Blue Sky at efbailey.bluesky.social or check out my website at emilyfbailey.wordpress.com. Thanks for reading.